A major explosion rocked the city of Jinan, Shandong Province, on May 29th when a branch of the Agricultural Bank of China caught fire. A video shared on X shows the building engulfed in flames, with a sign for Yi Private Banking, a division of the Agricultural Bank specializing in private banking services. The footage captures a deafening blast, violent ground tremors, and flames soaring into the sky. The fire appeared to start on the ground floor in two places, quickly spreading through the windows and consuming the upper levels. Smoke poured in from the rooftop in thick black plumes, darkening the sky and reducing the building to a near-hollow shell. While videos circulating on Douyin clearly identify the location as a branch of the Agricultural Bank of China, Chinese state media reports avoided naming the bank. Instead, authorities described the incident as a shop fire, reporting 5 injuries and 1 person missing. The vlogger said, "The Chinese government's banks are so advanced, they can even explode now. This gives them a perfect excuse if people can't withdraw their money." State media avoided calling it a bank. They called it a shop instead, clearly worried about triggering a bank run. Public data shows that Yi Private Banking is a private wealth management brand under the state-owned Agricultural Bank of China. The bank's 2024 annual report reveals that by the end of the year, it had 256,000 clients, with assets under management totaling 3.15 trillion yuan, equivalent to about $437 billion. The incident has sparked widespread debate across Chinese social media. Many users expressed shock, with comments like, "This is the first I've heard of a state-owned bank offering private banking. Who knew?" And Agricultural Bank has private banking? Who dare to go there now? Are they trying to burn the books? Some users voiced deeper concerns. A bank catching fire? That just sounds suspicious. Could something else be going on? Another commented, "Forget the cash. If the account records are gone, that's what really matters. Have they burned everything that needed to disappear?" One financial insider said that the Agricultural Bank is often seen as the boldest of China's 4 major state-owned banks. They take on deals that others wouldn't touch. Compared to other banks, they're more daring. Given the usual strict security measures at financial institutions, internal foul play is a likely possibility. It's possible that funds were misappropriated for risky investments that later collapsed. Faced with a financial black hole, someone might have decided to set a fire to erase the evidence. The insider revealed that private banks often cater to high-net-worth clients, many with sensitive backgrounds. This fire could be linked to internal corruption, or even a deliberate cover-up involving senior executives. In a separate but eerily similar incident the night before, on May 28th, multiple videos emerged showing a fire and thick smoke at the Finance Bureau compound in Song County, Henan Province. Firefighters were seen battling the blaze. The footage quickly went viral, raising concerns among social media users about whether sensitive documents may have been intentionally destroyed. One user commented, "You can tell right away. They're burning files before the inspection team shows up. It's the oldest trick in the book for covering up bad records." Another wrote, "If they investigate the grain reserves catch fire. If they inspect the Finance Bureau catches fire." Maybe these places should schedule routine fires every 3 or 5 years. Don't wait until inspections to set the fires. In response to growing public suspicion, local authorities issued an urgent statement. On the morning of May 29th, a staff member from the Song County Finance Bureau confirmed to Shenzhen Special Zone daily newspaper that a fire had indeed broken out, but they claimed it originated from a company within the Bureau's compound. They stated that the Finance Bureau building itself remained unharmed, with no damage to documents or assets. Attempts to contact the company linked to the fire were unsuccessful, as calls to the publicly listed number were disconnected. Meanwhile, a staff member at the county fire department stated that the blaze originated from a vehicle parked inside the Finance Bureau's lot. No casualties were reported. This incident follows a similar event in September 2024, when a fire broke out at the Finance Bureau in Shihe County, Shandong Province. That blaze scorched multiple floors, with thick smoke blackening the entire building. At the time, many internet users speculated that the fire was set intentionally to destroy financial records, especially as it coincided with China's annual year-end auditing period. Analysts have noted that the growing pattern of fires and explosions at financial institutions is far from ordinary. They suggest these events could be indications of deepening turmoil within China's financial sector, turmoil that's long been brewing. Recent developments reveal that former branch heads of all 4 major state-owned banks in China have been removed amid the latest anti-corruption crackdown in Zhejiang Province. The banks involved are the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, Agricultural Bank of China, China Construction Bank, and Bank of China. The former head of Bank of China's Zhejiang branch was placed under investigation in April 2024 and formally arrested by December. Similarly, the former head of the China Construction Bank's Zhejiang branch, Gao Qiang, was announced to be under investigation on April 29th of this year. On May 7th, the former president of Agricultural Bank of China's Zhejiang branch, Feng Jianlong, turned himself in to authorities. Feng's case is being treated as a major investigation. According to reports, large amounts of cash, luxury goods, and shopping carts were seized from his residence. His spouse, his children, and multiple private business executives were also taken in for questioning. Feng is also accused of leading a chaotic private life, maintaining multiple mistresses across Zhejiang and Chongqing, fathering children outside of marriage, and marrying a second wife several decades his junior. On May 27th, the former head of Industrial and Commercial Bank of China's Zhejiang branch, Shen Yongqing, was detained for investigation. That same day, the website of the Qiantang River Institute of Finance and Regulation, where Shen served as president, suddenly removed all information under the current leadership section. His biography has since disappeared from the site. Public records reveal Shen began his career at the People's Bank of China in Xianzhou County, later joining Industrial and Commercial Bank and climbing the ranks through various leadership roles in Xianzhou, Taizhou, and Zhejiang. In 2006, he was transferred to serve as the bank's provincial head in Shandong, before returning to Zhejiang in 2011 to take the top role. Now, with Shen's fall, all four former heads of China's Big Four banks in Zhejiang, once seen attending the top high-level meetings, have now been swept up in investigations. Many online expressed that the wave of alleged account settling by arson and the fall of key financial leaders suggest that China's financial situation may be deteriorating faster than authorities can contain. Critics claim the government is resorting to data manipulation and propaganda in a desperate attempt to maintain appearances. China's National Bureau of Statistics recently acknowledged that 7 provinces, including Jiangsu, were found to have engaged in statistical manipulation. Experts say China's consistently reported 5% annual GDP growth may in fact be a result of systemic data falsification. In late November 2024, the National Bureau of Statistics employed 10 inspection teams to conduct routine audits in 7 provinces: Shanxi, Liaoning, Jiangsu, Zhejiang, Hainan, Chongqing, and Ningxia. Also included were 3 central government agencies: the Ministry of Science and Technology, the State Administration for Market Regulation, and the National Financial Regulatory Administration. The inspections uncovered discrepancies in reported data across multiple projects. Inspection teams in Zhejiang, Liaoning, Chongqing, and Shanxi all reported instances of interference in statistical processes, with Jiangsu singled out as the most severe case. In January, the Jiangsu provincial government and the Jiangsu inspection team from the National Bureau of Statistics held a press conference claiming that the province achieved a total GDP of 13.7 trillion yuan in 2024, ranking second in the country. They further claimed an annual growth rate of 5.8%, the highest increase in absolute terms across the country. These announcements sparked heated online discussion, with terms like Jiangsu surpasses and Guangdong loses top economic province trended on social media. Chinese economist Cheng Xiaonong warned that it's not just Jiangsu or Zhejiang. Nearly every province exaggerates its numbers. If local governments reported truthfully, the picture would be one of widespread bankruptcies and industrial collapse. Instead, the central government continues to report a rosy 5% GDP growth rate, which is simply implausible. Cheng added that if the National Bureau of Statistics were falsifying its own data, its leadership would face legal consequences. Instead, both central and local governments are complicit in crafting a false economic narrative. He suggested the central government's recent focus on Zhejiang and Jiangsu may be intended as a warning to other provinces. Also, if local governments want to justify higher tax revenues, they have to fabricate corresponding growth. Otherwise, under negative GDP growth, rising tax income would make no sense. As China's economic conditions continue to worsen, most provinces are struggling to produce positive performance indicators. However, with the central government mandating a national GDP growth target of 5%, local governments appear to be responding by simply reporting the numbers they're told to, regardless of reality. In truth, data manipulation at the provincial level isn't new. Similar statistic adjustments were seen in previous years as well. The BBC previously reported that Henan province quietly revised its 2023 GDP figure downward by over 310 billion yuan. Thus, a projected 3.6% economic contraction for 2024 was magically transformed into 4.1% growth. Fujian province initially reported 2.3% growth in 2023, only to boost the figure to 4.5% by lowering the base figure. Comparable patterns of statistical revision have emerged in provinces like Jiangxi and Hunan, where growth figures essentially doubled after data were corrected. Economist Chang Xiaonong expressed that the central government is fully aware of this widespread data falsification, but they can't publicly acknowledge it. Doing so would mean admitting that China's entire statistical system lacks integrity, and that would trigger a major credibility crisis for the National Bureau of Statistics. Chang also points out that the National Bureau of Statistics cannot openly admit to pressuring its subordinate units to manipulate data, as doing so would further damage its credibility in the eyes of the international community. To navigate this contradiction, the CCP denies the existence of top-down pressure while selectively targeting a few provinces as scapegoats, using them to deflect criticism and manage growing scrutiny from abroad. Some online commentators see the CCP's rare admission that 7 provinces falsified GDP data as a major red flag. They believe the true economic figures are now too grim to conceal. Even China's celebrated high-income earners in the financial sector are now facing sharp income declines. Former Tong Securities financial analyst Zhang Shengli worked in China's securities industry from 2012 to 2017. He specialized in the stock and futures market and later relocated to the United States. He said in 2023 and 2024, year-end bonuses on the trading floor could reach 200,000 yuan per person, equivalent to about $28,000. But by 2016 and 17, China's stock market began to falter, and incomes plummeted. Monthly salaries that once hit 20,000 or 30,000 yuan dropped to as little as 3,000 to 4,000 yuan. Even annual bonuses were cut drastically, dropping to around 10,000 and 20,000 yuan, while some received as little as 5,000 yuan. Zhang explains that the initial public offering pipeline had dried up, most eligible companies had already gone public, and competition within the industry had intensified, shrinking profits. He said that at least 1/3 of the sales employees at the branch resigned. They often discussed emigration because securities firms are particularly sensitive to the economy. Everyone was trying to move abroad, and nearly all who were able to leave have already done so. Zhang also said during China's financial heyday, it wasn't uncommon for employees' securities companies to buy homes in full, without needing mortgages. It was easy to make money. Securities firms operate like this. When the overall economy is doing very well, major players are willing to enter and trade stocks, and each major player usually works through several securities companies to set up their trading channels. For example, several major players come to Haitong Securities to open multiple channels. The people there can clearly see which stocks the players are building positions in, allowing them to follow and buy alongside them. Zhang recalled that the Shanghai Composite Index hovered around 2,600 points in 2016 and rose to about 3,000 in 2017, but has since declined steadily. He described the market as a stagnant pool. Small retail investors are losing confidence after being repeatedly misled by authorities. Zhang emphasized that a healthy capital market relies on 3 key principles: sound legal infrastructure, adherence to the rule of law, and sufficient openness. If these conditions are met, global investors will naturally be drawn in. However, China's stock market resembles a casino, one where the ruling Communist Party plays the role of the house. The market was originally established not to nurture growth or innovation, but to serve as a financing mechanism for state-owned enterprises. That fundamental purpose distorts its function. In contrast, the U.S. stock market is built on a fair legal system where information and market feedback are closely aligned. Good companies grow, and poor performers are eliminated, enabling sustained strong trends. But in China, Zhang said, there's no rational reason left to invest in the stock market. Hardly anyone he knows still trades A-shares. Taiwan financial expert Edward Huang commented that in any country, the banking sector plays a critical role in maintaining economic liquidity. When the financial sector is underperforming, it's usually a sign that the broader economy is in trouble. He added that financial institutions are deeply tied to domestic demand. Currently, domestic consumption, real estate, and exports all face bleak prospects. Naturally, banks have started cutting salaries, aware that the economic outlook offers little hope. But the financial deterioration over the past 3 years is alarming and goes beyond mere economic fluctuation. Former legal representative of a prominent asset management firm in Beijing, Zhang Bijun, stated that the crisis is not limited to finance. It reflects a collapse across multiple sectors. He noted that from 2021 to 2023, the downturn accelerated like an avalanche. Market confidence vanished, and middle and lower-level managers saw their salaries drop dramatically. Chinese leader Xi Jinping's desperation for funds has prompted a crackdown on the financial sector. Many large domestic security firms have already started demanding the return of annual salaries and bonuses since last year. There's no option but to comply. Zhang Bi noted that asset management was relatively stable in the past, dealing with projects like abandoned factory properties and land-backed loans, with a roughly equal mix of quality and high-risk assets. However, he said the situation deteriorated rapidly after 2021. Many professionals are now deeply pessimistic, believing that General Secretary Xi is driving the system into darkness. Even if he's removed, the wealth built up over decades of Chinese economic reform has already been squandered. China's M2 money supply is now so vast that it could theoretically buy the world, but the system hasn't exploded yet. When it does, what will happen to the financial industry? Zhang said, in China, every financial tool is ultimately a weapon of state exploitation. They're not wealth management products or legitimate instruments. They're part of an elaborate scam. Those in the industry refer to retail investors in the A-share market as debt scavengers. They're the ones absorbing debts that should rightfully be borne by the government and corporations. The ongoing wave of pay cuts in the financial sector has persisted for nearly 3 years. Insiders widely agree that political factors are the driving force behind this trend. In March 2023, the Chinese Communist Party restructured the nation's financial regulatory system, placing it firmly under party control. The move redefined finance as a public utility rather than a commercial, market-driven industry. U.S.-based economist Davey J. Wong observed that since Beijing halted financial services company Group's IPO in 2020, the government has taken increasingly direct control over the financial sector. Restrictions on high salaries, arbitrage, and tighter regulation all send a clear message. Finance is no longer an industry for value creation. It's now a tool for political compliance. As a result, China's financial industry now faces dual pressure from economic slowdown and political overreach. One clear example is China International Capital Corporation, CICC. It was once regarded as the country's most internationalized financial institution. According to Bloomberg, market-based thinking has disappeared at CICC, and the firm is now effectively under Communist Party control. Reuters reported in January that Beijing is planning to slash salaries across China's top 3 financial regulatory agencies by up to 50%, aligning them with civil service pay levels. In recent years, the CCP has also launched a sweeping anti-corruption campaign targeting the financial industry. In 2022, 77 senior officials were investigated. In 2023, that number rose to 104, and in 2024, at least 97 were placed under investigation. The intensifying purge has triggered widespread anxiety in the sector. A surge in resignations among executives at A-share-listed companies is underway. Once one of the most sought-after career paths, finance and economics are no longer the top choice for China's brightest students. Admission scores for these majors at the prestigious Peking University have dropped significantly compared to a decade ago. Many new graduates who initially aimed for careers in finance are now preparing for the civil service exam. Employees from well-known securities firms such as China Fortune Securities and China Securities have also joined the wave. The latest recruitment list for 2025 government positions confirms this trend. Online observers point out that China's financial sector, which is acutely sensitive to economic shifts, has responded sharply to the ongoing downturn. A surge in suspected arson cases aimed at destroying financial records is now reportedly reaching the banking sector. As pressure mounts from deep pay cuts and widespread layoffs, even the nation's top talent and brightest students are struggling to stay afloat in finance. Faced with shrinking opportunities, some may be pushed towards desperate, even criminal actions, underscoring the grim reality of an industry in deep crisis.